Oh, 1123 may have produced arguably the most broken item of all time, and for anyone who has had to play against a champion with this item in their kit, well, there are services out there. So what is this item? Is it Divine Sunderer? Is it the new Evan Shroud support tank Mythic? Is it the new Doran's Ring? No, it's definitely not that. What this is the new Mage Mythic Crown of the Shattered Queen. Like, why do you think Victor's win rate has gone up almost 4% this patch? Why do you think Lux is sitting at a 54% win rate? It is mostly down to this new 2800 gold item, and to be honest, it is going to define the preseason and what becomes meta. So in this video, guys, Coach Jigs, the Jizz, the Cheese is going to break down the importance of this item and how significant its introduction to the League of Legends landscape actually is. And we'll talk about the champions you can abuse these on, and also why it cucks so many champions in the game. Now, of course, all of this preseason content we're uploading at the moment, not only is it daily, but it's up to date. This is going to keep you in the loop, so if something changes or something gets updated, we are going to keep you as informed as possible, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, and let's get into the video. Now, in the history of League of Legends, there have been so many broken items. Deathfire Grass, Sword of the Occult, Atma's Impaler, Sunfire Cape, Brutalizer, and most of these have been removed because Rito just could not balance them. Well, Crown of the Shattered Queen is going to be one of those items that is going to be very hard to balance just because of how broken the passive is. So the stats you can see on your screen now, it's giving you exactly the same stuff as Everfrost. So really the question you're answering is, do you want the root from Everfrost and the slow? Maybe you're a skill shot champion like Silas or Ari who really benefits from the extra CC. But what about if you're a ranged champion like Lux, like Victor, who needs a bit of safety, especially because the most popular champions in the game are those melee assassins and high DPS dealers? So we're talking Zed, Yasuo, Yone, these champions you see in pretty much every game. So for these ranged mages, having the Safeguard passive reduce that enemy champion's damage by 75% for the ensuing 1.5 seconds, this is nuts. Because if we think about these champions, their big weakness is actually just getting jumped on. They're not that mobile, so once you jump onto them, you should be able to kill them. But now, because their damage is going to be 25% of what it was, like how on earth can you die? And what's also really cooked about this item is that it's giving you AP when you actually have the Safeguard passive up. So this little circle around your character, this is the Safeguard passive. So if you see an enemy champion with this circle around them, what it's really telling you is do not use any cooldowns or your main abilities on this champion because you're barely going to do any damage to kill them. So the best way to play against these champions is to fight when you can actually proc the passive. But here's the thing, when you're playing against a ranged champion like Lux or a ranged champion like Victor, if that player is actually playing at the range they should be, it's very hard to proc. Now it is true that this passive can get procced by pretty much any source of damage. So if it's from Ludens, maybe the splash damage from Jinx's Fishbones, there are lots of things that will get rid of this shield. But once again, these champions play at such long range, it's just very hard to get onto them and get rid of their safeguard before the fight actually starts. And it also helps these champions at the moment because AP items are actually in a pretty good position. If we think of Void Staff, which is giving you more magic penetration now, if we think of the new Shadow Flame legendary item, which is giving these AP champions a big chunk of AP and HP, and also a passive which is giving them magic penetration based off the enemy champions' innate shielding and also based on their current HP. So the lower they are, the more damage you're going to deal to them. So not only do you have the defensive setup with Crown of the Shattered Queen, but you also have the offensive setup after this to be able to one-shot champions still. And the Mythic passive as well is also really useful because of the percentage bonus movement speed. The AP for sure can be useful because some of this will be getting transferred into magic penetration once you actually get to Void Staff or Shadow Flame. But again, the movement speed is just giving you the kite, the mobility to actually stay alive and dodge these skill shots that might proc the Safeguard passive. So this is everything, guys, playing around that Safeguard passive and making sure that shield doesn't break. But if it does, try to avoid it getting procced by those things I talked about. So the random splash damage or a skill shot that just clips you, trying to preserve it and holding onto it just makes you a completely different animal. And I want to share with you guys a stat, which is honestly one of the most mind-boggling stats I've ever read, because Riot surely would have known how good this item would have been before they released it. But the balance team is full of like gold and plat players, so I guess this makes sense. But the cost efficiency of this Mythic, listen to this. This item is 127% gold efficient. So what this pretty much means is that for the stats it's giving you, so the ability power, the ability haste, the HP, the mana, and then the passives, so the ability power, the movement speed, and then the Safeguard passive, for just 2800 gold, this is an absurd upside. Now Everfrost actually has exactly the same cost efficiency, but the problem with Everfrost, even though it is 400 gold cheaper than what it previously was, is that it's not the most applicable to these range mages. And in lower elos, these champions who have range, they're actually just too immobile to make work. So they've never really had the defense to stand up to these assassins toe to toe. And if you think about Season 11, when Seeker's Arm Guard and therefore Zhonya's Hourglass, and this got nerfed, you're losing armor from this, so if you are against one of those AD bursty assassins, and it doesn't even have to be in the mid lane, it might be a Kha'Zix or Rengar or Shaco in the jungle, you were just way too killable. And you know, not everyone is going to position perfectly like Faker in this game. We're all going to make mistakes and we're all going to get caught out. So now, With this ridiculously cost-efficient Mythic item, you have all the survivability you need, and this is the main reason Lux, Victor, and every other range mage in the game has gotten so much better. And if we just compare this to Liandry's and Luden's Tempest, their cost efficiency is sitting around 100%. So Crown of the Shattered Queen is at least 25% more gold efficient. That's how unreal this item is at the moment. And it's kind of funny because I did say that this item was specifically made for ranged champions, but if we think about a champion like Kassadin, who most of the time is going to get the jump on the enemy champion, like just think about it. How many times do you engage on the enemy champion when you're full HP? Most of the time, right? Like no one is going to deal damage to you before you go in. And if they have, it's because you're playing way too linear. So if a team fight breaks out, you're just running from your backline straight into the enemy team. They can see you. So if you're playing smart and if you're flanking and you're manipulating the vision so the enemy team can't see you when you actually engage, this can be really effective on AP assassins as well. LeBlanc falls into the same category, and you could even maybe make this work on a champion like Sylas too. So it has so much application to so many champions at the moment, and this is why in Grandmaster and above, right now as we speak, Kassadin wins 60% of games when he builds this item. And that's not from 10 games, that is from almost 500 matches. So basically what I'm saying in this video, guys, is first of all, play a champion that can build this item, and if you see a champion who can build this item on the enemy team, probably don't pick a short range melee champion with burst damage. So if you are going to pick Zed, Talon, Kiana, Yasuo, Yone, if you pick one of these and the enemy mid lane has the Crown of the Shattered Queen passive ready, you are going to get cucked super hard. And that's with Lethal Tempo getting buffed for Yasuo and Yone. That's with Prowler's Claw, Dustblade, and even Eclipse getting buffed for all the assassins. These items and champions just do not compare to how good these champions who can abuse Crown of the Shattered Queen are. So 1123 so far has certainly thrown a few curveballs at us all, and that is what is exciting about this patch in the preseason. There are new items, there are builds and runes and whatever else getting tested out, and we are here to keep you up to date. So once again, make sure you hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments, do you think Crown of the Shattered Queen is one of the most broken items we've ever seen? Maybe there's another item and champion combination out there which is just straight up better. And if you did enjoy the video, guys, let us know by leaving a like down below, and also make sure to check out the amazing GameLeap website on your way out, linked in the description and comment section. We're talking champion courses and guides made by the best challenger players and coaches around the world, and we also make high elo VOD analyses where we look at the top players like Faker, Dopa, Uzi, so you can find out and then apply the stuff that they're doing that you aren't currently doing. So get signed up, get that exclusive access, and until tomorrow's daily upload on the preseason, this has been the